In case you've never used Hammer before, I'm going to quickly show you some of the basics of the level editing program. I'm not really going to go into much detail here, and you should check out Noesis Interactive's source level design tutorial for a lot more information on the ins and outs of Hammer if you want to learn more. In the startup, you just open up Steam, and here you can see your main Steam window. You can go over to Tools, click on Left 4 Dead Authoring Tools. Now, if you're using the new Steam user interface, you'll need to go to Library and then Tools. And what pops up is the Authoring Tools window. And we're interested in Hammer World Editor. Let's start by opening a new project. So you go to File and New. The toolbar represents all of the tools you'll need to build your world in Hammer. These few tools are powerful, intuitive, and very easy to use. Let's take a moment and look through each of them. I'll go a little out of order to better illustrate the tools. The block tool, or the brush tool, is a basic building block for Hammer. Most of the detailed planes in source games are built with this tool. Similar in some ways to a modeling program, each of these blocks are made using the top and two side viewports. When a block window is open, you can change which sort of block you wish to create with the Categories option. Drag out a block and hit Enter to create it. If you need to focus your viewports on the newly selected brush, just go up to View and Center Views on Selection. And this will center the view on the brush. And if you want to do it in the 3D view, center 3D Views on Selection. When you do this, it's in the center of the brush, so you have to scroll back a little bit. You can now zoom in and out by using your middle mouse scroll button. Now let's check out some of the other primitives. You can see you have the arch, block, cylinder, spike, sphere, torus, and wedge. Let's make a sphere. The Texture Application tool applies the textures found in the world to your brushes. This creates the illusion of brick, metal, wood, and other properties. There are so many applications for this texture tool, and all of them can be found in Noesis Interactive's Hammer tutorials. Let's just do a quick run through of the various options. See here? Here's the texture groups. Let's just go to Browse. And here you have the filter. And let's look up a brick texture. And apply. And now this face looks like it's made out of bricks. Right below the Texture Application tool is the Apply Current Texture tool. When you have a brush face selected, you can click this tool to apply your current texture in the texture browser to the brush face. And it's just a quick way of doing it. Now that we have the brushes and textures out of the way, let's go ahead and view the other tools. The Pointer tool is the generic selection tool for Hammer. You can use this tool to select brushes and to manipulate them in the world of Hammer. The Magnifying Glass tool is used to view the 2D planes of Hammer. With this tool you can zoom in and out of the world with the left and right mouse button. This tool is pretty obsolete if you have a mouse with a built-in scroll wheel. And next we have the Camera tool. This views around the 3D view of Hammer. And you just click and hold and drag. You can also hit the Z key and it locks the camera view. And you can use the mouse and the W, A, S, and D keys to move the camera. And just hitting Z again will unlock it. Constantly selecting the camera option can be a little tiring at times. One trick professionals use to familiarize themselves with the up, down, left, and right control method. Using these arrows right next to your keypad functions similarly to the mouse pointer. By using these in tandem with the W, A, S, and D keys, you can emulate the camera function without having to select it. Here I'm using the up, down, left, right, and the W, A, S, and D. And I can easily select the different brush faces without having to deselect the texture tool. Next, we have the Entity tool. This is another very important tool, without which we wouldn't have a game to play. This is the most complex tool in Hammer, and basically is your ability to code your game. I'll get into more detail with this tool over the course of this tutorial. However, for the time being, let me show you how to use it. So once you select it, you can see here are the various entities which you can place in. And let's just select an info player start. There are two basic schools of thought when it comes to the Entity tool. The first of which is to select the tool, then select your entity, and to place it in a 3D plane. It automatically places it on top of the brush face. This is very useful when you wish to quickly place your entities in the maps. The second method is to use the top and side viewports to place the entity in the world. This method is best used to fine-tune your placements to the grid. Let's open up the Object Properties window for this entity. Select the entity and either double-click on it or hit Alt-Enter to open the window. The Object Properties window contains all of the pertinent information needed to have a working game. There's so many options, and each entity has its own set of options, so it's basically impossible for me to go over every different aspect of every different entity. Over the course of this tutorial, I'll discuss some of the pertinent information needed to enable proper scripting and entity hierarchies to getting your game to work properly. Here are some of the tabs. You have the Output tab, the Inputs tab, the Flags tab, and Viz Groups. Next, we have the Decal and Overlay tools. Each of these perform a similar task. However, each do it in a different way. Overlays are basically a more complex tool and allow you to do rotation and stretches, while the Decal tool is for placing a lot of detail really quickly. In other words, you'll probably use a decal for things like trash or leaves, while using the overlay to place a sign. After you've placed an overlay on a surface, you can rotate and resize it by dragging these guides here. The two final tools to talk about are the Clipping tool and the Vertex Manipulation tool. Both of these tools are used to edit an already existing brush to work for your game. The Clipping tool is used to split brushes. This is a fantastic tool if you need to detail brushes in your place in the world. The Vertex Manipulation tool, on the other hand, is used to edit these points of the brushes you make. This is just a very quick overview of Hammer. Through this tutorial, I'll be better illustrating how to use each of these.